Hello, my chicklets. Thank you for stopping by. A quick update on our 500 celebration. I have gotten permission to do the second long work in the labeled series, so I am hoping to get that out sometime in October. For now, let's go ahead and continue our Soulmate September series with Day 4, I Want to Care About You. In this day, there is a trail of color only you can see that marks out where your soulmate has been. Virgil had turned 22, which meant despite the stable job he had in his village, he was required to go on a quest to find his soulmate. He didn't want to uproot the life that he had to go on a quest to find a soulmate that he wasn't even sure he had. He had already rebuilt his life after his parents kicked him out, deciding that he was the reason that their relationship was failing. Virgil had fought his way through life and he was completely comfortable. He didn't need a soulmate. He had never seen the gentle colored smoke that was supposed to follow a person's soulmate. He had never known what people meant about how the smoke grew in thickness until it wrapped its way around the person you were fated to be with. And he didn't care. He enjoyed his life with his cat in his little home, but societal laws meant he had to go out and find his soulmate. The village was already beginning to ostracize him, and this birthday had really been the last straw. His boss, the closest thing he had to a parent, had bought him a cake from the local bakery and a traveling backpack. Then he told Virgil he wouldn't have a job in the morning. Customers were beginning to come less frequently because he was employing a young adult without a soulmate. It wouldn't help either of them for him to stay. Virgil wasn't being given a choice anymore. No one in his town would hire him, and Virgil knew that this was his best option. Maybe he could find another town or village to move to. He didn't want to live in a large town or city where the busy life could overwhelm him, and he was certain that other villages would probably be just as strict about hiring people who didn't have soulmates. He might have no other choice. Surprisingly, selling off what little furniture he had was easy. People were more than happy to buy off his furniture, knowing that the money would go to his travels to find his soulmate, and that was probably the only good part of the whole ordeal. It had made the process of getting rid of his life in town much easier. Now all that was left was him and his cat with pitch black fur. With a sigh, Virgil pulled at the straps of his travel bag and began to walk out of his house. There was a merchant cart leaving for the next town over. He had been told he could catch a ride. "All right, sunshine, let's go." Virgil ended up traveling to a few cities and villages, learning to lay low and conserve his money to make it last. The longer it went on, the more he thought about other alternatives. Sure, it would be nice to have a perfect someone, but what if he screwed it up? There was a lot of other thoughts that went through his head, but everything came to a screeching halt when he finally saw it. The mists. Something was wrong, though. Everyone said the mist was one color, but he saw two. A beautiful intertwining of light blue and yellow. It reminded him of the sky, and Virgil's heart skipped a beat for a moment. He followed the path of smoke, watching as it got thicker. Two colors. What could that mean? What if he had already messed it up? He looked into the window of the small cafe and saw two men smiling and holding hands. One of them with big round glasses that were almost as big as his bright blue eyes. Two people, and Virgil knew he was meant to be alone. He could always just move on to the next town, tell them he had lost his soulmate young. He wouldn't be able to get a great job, but it would at least be something. Rubbing the back of his head before scratching Sunshine's ears, Virgil sighed. "Looks like it's just you and me, Sunshine, but I'm fine with that." The two walked off, looking for a place to take shelter for the night. He didn't have a lot of money left, and it would probably be best to save what he could for a ride tomorrow, and a place to clean off when he reached the next city. He could probably find a decent enough place on the streets to stay tonight. In fact, he had gotten pretty good at finding hidden alleyways to hide in, and it was still early summer, so it was comfortable enough outside to sleep at night. Virgil found a place far enough away from the cafe and curled up. He hadn't seen the mist in this area, so those two probably didn't come out this far very often. He should be fairly safe. He didn't want to intrude on their life, and he hadn't really wanted a soulmate anyway. It wasn't long before Virgil slowly began to fall asleep, his eyes heavy from all the uncertainty in traveling. At least now he had a plan. He had come up with an idea, and he would get himself out of here soon. "Patton, let me check first," a voice called from the other end of the alley before the sound of boots started getting closer. Virgil bolted up, trying to be quiet. It normally wasn't good to be caught sleeping on the streets, especially when you still had coin in your pockets. Sunshine apparently didn't get the message, though, bolting up onto a pile of trash. "A cat?" The voice was obviously confused and quiet, but the other person they had been speaking to, Patton, squealed loudly. "Come here, kitten. Is our new soulmate a cat?" "Doubtful. And don't pet that cat. You are allergic." The voice turned back before saying, "We are your soulmates. You can come out." Virgil debated on coming out, but realized it wasn't the city guard here to take him. He went ahead and stood up. "If he's allergic to cats, probably wasn't meant to be your soulmate." "Nonsense!" The man at the end of the alleyway seemed to be all happiness and optimism. "If I die from this kitty-witty, it'll be the adorable death." "Why don't you come with us? We will give you a place to stay for the night, and we can all discuss this in the morning. But the cat stays outside." "No," Virgil said adamantly. "Sunshine stays with me. Besides, I don't need your help." "You named your black cat Sunshine." "Oh, isn't that so adorable?" The man who was standing between Virgil and his cat began to walk closer to Virgil, making him feel cornered. "I almost think you don't want to meet us." The voice was calm and cool. "And what if I didn't?" "Wait, you didn't want us?" Virgil heard Sunshine fall from the other man's arms. She didn't come running back, instead rubbing herself on the other man's legs before slowly walking to Virgil. She was followed by a light sneeze. "You two have each other. You don't need a third person. Society doesn't like things that are different." "Yeah, well, like I give a fuck about society." "Hey, language! We don't know if there are kids on this street." "Come on. I want to get home. You're coming with us so we can discuss this somewhere that isn't a dark alley. If you want to leave afterward, fine." He turned on his heel, walking back to his soulmate, and Virgil scowled. He didn't really like being told what to do, but he scooped up Sunshine and followed, only because he couldn't stand that sad look on the other man's face. They walked in silence for a while. It was uncomfortable and awkward. Or maybe that was just him. Then again, maybe it wasn't just him. "Oh, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Patton," the soft man said with a smile. He had been sniffling and trying not to sneeze the entire time. "Virgil." This wasn't going to work if Patton was so allergic to cats, though his allergy didn't stop him from reaching out to try and pet Sunshine again. "What are you doing?" "Aw, I'm sorry. She's just so cute." "Just keep your hands to yourself." It was a dumb idea for Patton to try and pet Sunshine if he was allergic, but Virgil could tell by the look on Patton's face that he didn't understand why Virgil was asking him to keep his hands to himself. "Look, I don't mind if you pet Sunshine, but if she's making you sneeze and stop breathing, I'm pretty sure that your soulmate over there is going to have my head. He looks like the type." "Janice? No, he's really just a protective softy underneath it all. Plus, he's your soulmate too. I don't think he'd hurt you, kiddo." Patton reached out to pet Sunshine again, and this time Virgil didn't stop him. It wasn't like he had a choice. Patton seemed completely determined to love on his cat, even if it hurt him in the process. This man was a strange one. "We're here," Janice spoke up, standing in front of the rather nice house, something further away from the merchant areas, which led Virgil to believe they had a bit of money. Great. So soulmates were well off, probably nobles of some kind. He should have noticed by the way they were dressed. "You really don't need to put me up for the night." "But we want you." Patton hesitantly reached out for Virgil's hand, and when Virgil didn't shy away, Patton held his hand with a warm and comforting smile. Virgil frowned, but Patton let him in slowly. "Why, you don't even know me." "I didn't know Janice when I first met him either, but now I don't want to imagine a life without him. I want that with you too," he said softly, and Virgil had to fight against his melting heart. This man was so soft and gentle, and maybe he could see himself having a life with them. "I don't need you to care about me," he said, but his fight was slipping. "I know you are very capable, but I want to care about you." Virgil paused, about to cross over the threshold. This man didn't even know if Virgil had any kind of value, but he said he wanted to care about him. Even his boss had only kept him around while he was useful. I guess it wouldn't hurt," he whispered, stepping into their house and wondering if this might actually be a change for the better. Thank you for listening. Again, this was I Want to Care About You, Day 4 in our Soulmate September series. I appreciate you coming by, and I hope you have a wonderful day.